What if everything you thought you knew about Heartland was about to change? What if the story we believed had ended was only just beginning? Imagine the shock, the heartbreak, and the impossible joy when Ty Borden suddenly appears alive and Amy is left staring at the man she thought she had lost forever. The screen opens with slow, wide shots of the Heartland ranch at dawn. The sky glows with soft pink light, horses graze in the distance, and the wind brushes through the tall grass. A gentle but suspenseful instrumental plays, carrying both warmth and unease. The narrator's voice breaks the silence, steady yet dramatic. For years, Heartland fans have carried the weight of one of the most heartbreaking goodbyes in the show's history. Ty Borden, the character who stole the hearts of millions, who stood as a pillar of strength and love for Amy Fleming, was taken away far too soon. His absence reshaped not only Amy's life, but also the emotional landscape of Heartland itself. For many, it felt like a wound that would never truly heal. We see faceless montages, silhouettes of Amy leading her horse, a man's boots crunching over gravel, a family gathered around a dinner table where a seat is painfully empty. These visuals hold the grief and the silence left behind. But what if that silence was broken? What if that seat at the table was no longer empty? What if Ty Borden had never truly left? The music shifts, rising into a sharper tone, filled with mystery. The narration slows down, pulling the audience deeper. Season 19 of Heartland doesn't just promise another chapter. It threatens to turn the story upside down. The rumors, the whispers, the shockwave of a single scene Ty Borden, standing alive, his shadow falling across the ranch he once called home. And there, frozen in disbelief, stands Amy. Her heart races. Her mind refuses to believe. Her world, built on the memory of loss, is suddenly shattered by the impossible. His return. The visuals now show dramatic faceless imagery. A hen dropping a coffee cup in shock. Horses bolting in the paddock. Amy's silhouette frozen as if time itself has stopped. Every cut adds to the tension. This is not a simple story of reunion. This is not just about love returning from the grave. No, this is about heartbreak meeting hope. It is about the collision between the life Amy has built in Ty's absence and the man she once promised forever to. The moment is raw, unexplainable, and more powerful than words. And in episode 1 of season 19, the world of Heartland will never be the same again. As the narration grows, the visuals soften again, showing rolling hills and the ranch bathed in evening light. The voiceover leaves a haunting promise hanging in the air: prepare yourself. Because what begins as an ordinary day in Hudson quickly spirals into the most unforgettable moment in Heartland's history. The shock of seeing Ty alive, the look in Amy's eyes, the weight of every unsaid word, every tear, every memory, they all crash together in one instant. And it will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about their story. The section closes with silence. A single silhouette of a man's figure appears on screen, blurred and faceless, as Amy's voice echoes faintly in the background. Ty. Fade to black. The sound of hooves echoes across a dirt path as the camera pans over the Heartland ranch. The sky is golden, but there is a heaviness in the air, as if the land itself remembers loss. A narrator's voice begins, low and steady, inviting viewers into a reflection. To understand the shock of Ty's return, we have to step back into the pain that shaped Amy's journey. Ty Borden was never just another character in Heartland. He was the soul of the ranch, the steady hand who tamed wild horses, and the loyal heart who stood beside Amy through every trial. From the first day he rode into Hudson, Ty carried a story of redemption, a boy broken by his past, finding healing through horses, family, and love. On screen, faceless recreations show a man's gloved hand brushing against a horse's mane, Amy's figure silhouetted under a barn light, and two shadows standing side by side under a wide prairie sky. Fans watched as Ty grew from a troubled young man into a husband and father. His bond with Amy was not only about romance, it was about resilience, trust, and building a life together after years of hardship. They weathered storms, faced heartbreak, and found strength in one another. For Heartland viewers, Ty and Amy became more than just characters, they became a symbol of hope. Proof that love could survive anything. The tone shifts, and the music grows softer, filled with melancholy. But then, the story took a turn no one saw coming. Ty's sudden departure tore through the fabric of Heartland like lightning across a quiet sky. One moment he was there, the next, gone forever. The shock wasn't just Amy's, it was ours. We grieved with her. We carried her sorrow as she stood by his memory, raising their daughter without the partner she once leaned on. It was a loss that defined her world. The visuals show empty chairs, a child's toy left in the yard, and Amy's faceless shadow watching the horizon. Always waiting, always searching. Over the seasons, Amy tried to rebuild. She poured herself into the ranch, into the horses, into her family. She carried herself with grace, but beneath that strength was a wound that never healed. Every smile was touched by absence. Every victory was shadowed by what could have been. She learned to move forward, but she never truly let go. How could she? Ty wasn't just part of her story, he was her story. The narrator's voice deepens, filled with weight. For the audience, Ty's absence became permanent. His chapter was closed, sealed with grief. We accepted it because we had to. We believed his story was over, and Amy's journey, as painful as it was, became one of survival and resilience. She showed us that even in the darkest nights, life must continue. She became the living symbol of strength in the face of tragedy. The music shifts again, from sadness to a simmering sense of anticipation. That is why the whispers of Ty's return strike the heart so deeply. It's not just about shock, it's about rewriting grief. If Ty is alive, it changes everything. Amy's years of pain, her battles, her growth as a woman and mother, all of it is suddenly questioned. What happens when the love you lost comes back? Do you rejoice? Or do you rage at the years stolen from you? Do you run into his arms? Or do you push him away for leaving you to suffer alone? We see dramatic faceless shots, Amy clutching her daughter's hand, a lone rider in the distance, the ranch glowing under twilight. This is the storm building in season 19, episode 1. It's not just about Ty stepping into the frame, it's about the emotional earthquake his presence brings. The family, the town, the fans all are forced to reckon with the impossible. And Amy, most of all, is left torn between the love of her past and the life she has built in his absence. This is more than a twist. This is a reckoning. The narration slows. The music fades into silence. The memory of Ty shaped Amy's heart. But now, the man himself stands before her, and nothing will ever be the same. The screen fades to black, leaving only the sound of a heartbeat echoing. The air is still. The ranch is quiet. The world feels ordinary for one fragile moment, until the sound of footsteps breaks the silence. Heavy, familiar, deliberate. The camera shows only the outline of boots crossing the dirt road, the long shadow stretching toward the barn. The narrator's voice lowers, tense and deliberate. And then, it happens. The moment no one could prepare for. The moment that bends reality and shakes the very ground beneath Amy's feet. Out of the horizon, out of the years of grief, a figure appears. A figure that should be gone. A figure she knows as well as her own heart. The visuals slow. Dust kicks up around a faceless man's shape. Amy's silhouette is frozen in the doorway. Her hands trembling as though her body already knows the truth her mind refuses to believe. Ty Borden, alive. The words fall heavy, like thunder rolling through an empty valley. The music shifts violently, strings swell. Deep percussion rumbles, the heartbeat of the moment fills the air. For Amy, time stops. The weight of every year, every lonely night, every whispered memory collides in a single second. Her eyes widen, her chest tightens. The man she buried in her heart stands before her, breathing, real, impossible. Faceless visuals show close-ups, a cup slipping from Amy's hand, shattering on the ground. Horses in the paddock suddenly spook, sensing her shock. A child's laughter fades into silence. Her mind races. How can this be? Was it all a lie? Was he hidden, taken, lost in a way no one understood? The grief that once defined her life is suddenly torn open, replaced by a storm of disbelief and hope she dares not trust. The narration grows urgent. But this moment is not simple joy. No, it is heavier, darker. Because when the dead return, they carry questions that cut deeper than grief. Why did he vanish? Why did he stay away? Why now, after all these years, when Amy has finally found a way to survive without him? Visually, we see Amy's faceless silhouette stepping forward, her breath visible in the cold air. The figure of Ty remains half in shadow, never fully revealed, but his presence is undeniable. The look in her eyes is not only shock, it is fury. It is longing. It is the desperate ache of a heart pulled in two directions. She wants to run to him, to feel his arms, to believe in the miracle before her. But she also wants to scream, to collapse, to push him away for letting her suffer, for letting their daughter grow up without him. The music crescendos, then pauses. A whisper cuts through the silence. Amy's voice, trembling, raw. Ty? The screen freezes for a beat, amplifying the unbearable weight of the single word. That one name carries years of love and loss, of promises broken and unbroken, of a future thought destroyed now flickering back to life. And in that instant, the world of Heartland is reborn, but not with peace, with chaos, with conflict, with questions no one can answer. The narrator's tone grows darker, weaving suspense into every syllable. This is not a simple homecoming. It is not a fairy tale return. It is a storm breaking across the Heartland ranch, and Amy is standing at its center. Ty's presence will test everything: her family, her trust, her love, and her very sense of truth. The man she thought she lost forever is alive. But is he the same man she loved? Or has time changed him into someone else entirely? The camera lingers on faceless imagery. Amy dropping to her knees, her shadow shaking. A blurred figure steps closer, boots heavy on the dirt. A horse whinnies, rearing against its rope, as if even the animal's no destiny has shifted. The shock spreads like fire. Jack, Lou, the entire Heartland family will be forced to face the impossible. But none will carry the burden as deeply as Amy. For her, Ty's return is not just about reunion. It is about rewriting her life, her grief, her very identity. Everything she thought she knew collapses in the space of a heartbeat. The music swells again, powerful, overwhelming, then fades into a single, haunting piano note. Season 19 begins not with peace, but with the unthinkable. Ty Borden alive, Amy shattered, and the future of Heartland rewritten before our very eyes. The screen fades to black. Only the sound of Amy's breathing remains uneven, broken. The screen fades in slowly. The ranch is quiet again, but the silence now feels heavy, as though every breath of wind carries questions that cannot be answered. The narrator's voice returns, softer this time, but no less gripping. What happens after the shock? What happens after Amy whispers his name, and Ty's presence fills the world she thought she had lost forever? The moment may look like a miracle, but miracles carry a price. For Amy, this is not only about joy, it is about unraveling the life she has built. Piece by piece, visuals drift across the screen. The shadow of Amy holding her daughter's hand. The empty barn glowing in twilight. A faceless figure standing alone on the ridge line. The music swells slowly, creating an atmosphere of tension and think of the years of grief, of strength, of nights spent whispering his name in the dark. Think of the pain of explaining to their daughter why her father was no longer there. Every tear, every moment of survival, it all crashes into this one instant. Ty is alive. But with that truth comes a storm that may tear Heartland apart. The narrator's tone sharpens, steady and commanding. This is the story that Season 19 dares to tell. A story not about fantasy, but about the raw cost of hope. Because when a loved one returns from the shadows, they do not come back untouched. They carry secrets, they carry scars, and they force everyone around them to face the unthinkable. What if everything you believed, everything you endured, was built on a lie? Faceless visuals intensify. A family dinner table with one chair pulled out, Amy's shadow gripping the edge of the table, Ty's blurred figure stepping through the doorway. Horses kick against fences as the music grows restless. Amy's heart is torn between rage and relief. love, and betrayal. And her family will not stay silent. Jack will demand answers. Lou will question every truth they've been told. Even the town itself will shake with gossip, with disbelief, with fear of what this means. Ty's return will not be gentle. It will be a reckoning. The narration slows, pausing for effect. And you, the fans, the audience who has carried this story in your hearts for so long, you will feel every moment of it. You will stand with Amy in her shock, her trembling hands, her racing heartbeat. You will face the questions that cannot yet be answered. Why did Ty vanish? Who kept his secret? And most of all, can love survive being broken twice? The screen now shows faceless silhouettes of viewers in shadow, as though placing the audience directly into the story. Heartland Season 19. Episode 1 is not just an opening, it is a promise. A promise that nothing will remain the same. A promise that Amy's life, Ty's fate, and the entire ranch will be pulled into a storm of truth and lies, love and betrayal, hope and heartbreak. And we, together, will walk that journey. The music rises, swelling into a final crescendo. So prepare yourself. Prepare for the questions that will keep you awake at night. Prepare for the tears, the rage, the joy you never thought possible. Because when Ty Borden steps back into Amy's world, he does not just return as a husband or a father. He returns as a mystery. And the answers will change everything. The visuals fade to black. For a long moment, there is only silence. Then, the faint sound of Amy's voice, breaking, almost a whisper. Why now, Ty? Why now? The narrator's voice returns one final time, strong and commanding, delivering the cliffhanger. Is Ty Borden truly back for good? Or is his return only the beginning of another heartbreak? The music cuts off. A single heartbeat echoes. Then, silence. Audience engagement ending. Tell us what you believe. Do you think Ty's return will heal Amy's wounds or destroy everything she has built? Share your theories, your hopes, and your fears in the comments below. Because this season, every voice matters, and every guess could bring us closer to the truth. The story is far from over, and neither is Ty Borden. The screen fades to black. White text appears. Heartland Season 19. The story continues.